Hey guys, I have my old Town Sportsman PDL 106 pedal kayak here, and I'm just finishing up my full year doing kayak fishing from this boat. And I wanted to go over some of the changes I've made in the past year. I did a video last year at the end of the first season. I'll put a link to that probably in the description. And I'm just gonna follow up on some things that have changed and issues I've had and whatnot, and let's get into it. So probably watch the first one if you want to see some of the features of the boat, but I'm going to focus more on how I fished with it this past year and what's changed. So first off, the biggest improvement I've made on this boat since I bought it is just this little piece of wood here. I'll link to the video. I think I made a video. I actually don't know for sure. Of the build process on this. Basically, without this piece of wood here, when you're driving around, this pedal drive unit is just basically moving forward, backwards, left and right. It's really jerking hard on the points of contact here. A lot of stress on this plastic bar here. Since I put this thing in, I have gone the entire season without removing this PDL drive. I have no issues trailering it over railroad tracks, big bumps, everything. So that alone has saved so much time and space and mess in my trunk, because beforehand I'd have to take it out of the boat. It would usually be dripping a little bit. It would get some mud and just gross stuff in my car that stank. So doing that, big improvement. Next up, let's see. I did these catch metal instead of plastic mounts here when I first got the boat. I did just do a polish on them. Let's see here. The shine is back. It was really easy. I used the Fletch polish. I'll put a link in that in the description if you don't know what that is. And that pretty much brought them right back to shiny newness, minus some little marks and scuffs and stuff I couldn't get rid of. But the GPS mount, this is just a Garmin CV4, which as far as a fish finder goes, I don't know, I can't really comment on that. I'm always fishing shallow, so fish finders aren't useful for me anyway. Finding fish, they're more useful for knowing the depth and seeing the structure underneath the boat. It's working great for that though. I have a transducer mount that I DIY'd. When I cut to showing underneath the boat after 2 years of abuse, you can see that mount on there. It's just a piece of metal I bent. It's like $2 or $3, and it works better than any of the 3D printed or plastic ones you can buy, in my opinion anyway, because it keeps it in a good location, safe location, and it's strong. Here's a look at the bottom of the boat after 2 years of heavy fishing use. I'll go up close in a second here. So the heavy wear points appear to be this replaceable part here, but that doesn't even look. Is that a rock in there? I think there's a rock jammed in there. Let's see. Seems like another heavy wear area is, let me zoom out first, the bottom section here. It's all very light scratches though. Same up here, light scratches, light scuffs. It's a little bit of a deeper one here. Transducer, this mount, piece of metal with screws is holding up perfectly. Just needs a good cleaning. Here's another heavy wear spot right on the front, on the tip of it. That is quite a bit of scuffing. That I might put a cover on at this point. Just a little bit of Kydex or something folded and glued on. I'm gonna have to flip the boat over on the other side just to take a better look at that one. Let me pause for a second, I'll be right back. So as I'm flipping this thing, I keep hearing something heavy go back and forth. So we're gonna do a tip on this, and I wonder if I've lost a rechargeable battery deep inside this kayak. And I wonder if I'm about to find it. So there it is, I guessed right. Scratch to hell. Rechargeable battery. This thing has been through a lot in there. I want to say, I think I lost this battery like right at the beginning of this season. And this boat has been, I mean, it gets an occasional little bit of water. You can see there's a couple of drips in there now. Just through the ports. And actually, I think the front lid is where most of it gets in. But if this thing still works, I'm going to go buy another one. What's the brand? Inu brand, INIU, fast charge. The screen won't turn on, so it might be totally dead. I'm going to go ahead and use another battery to charge this one at first anyway. Oh, screen turned on. It's at 57%, it says. I don't know, it probably won't show on the screen here, but... Maybe just need to be woken up by charging. Last year, I had this thing fling off a few times, and it would fling off at this mount point, so it's probably more the Garmin's fault than it is the Yak Attack mount that I have here. And what I did to solve that was just put my fishing rod holder right up against it, and now when I go over railroad tracks, it'll wobble a little, but I haven't had a fling off in 1.5 years since doing that, so that seems to work fine. Let's see, for tools that I've kept on board this year, I got trusty old fish lip grip. I got a bigger one for the big pike when I go out pike fishing. Got pliers, and I've got clamps here that can lock closed on hooks. And I usually keep whatever plastics I'm fishing with at the time in here also on this side. I'm gonna go to the other side. On the other side, empty. I just keep my phone. And then I have Velcroed in here another style of hook gripper that can let me get deeper into the throat if a hook is stuck really deep. And that's just Velcro adhesive. Hasn't fallen off yet, so when it does, I'll probably do something better. Let's see, I have a bungee cord that keeps my seat folded down while driving. All I do, and it's just a zip tie here, fold it up and then connect it here or sometimes here. And that Velcro keeps it open while I fish. And when I stand up, I don't have to worry about it closing. It keeps it sprung open real good. I went another year fishing with just a cheap stadium cushion on here, and that's worked well. I did have it blow off one time last year, so I've thought about making an attachment, but it floats, so it isn't an issue. I have thought about getting the more comfortable kayak seats, but when I look at them and kind of compare to how I use this, I really like how this one is slick. And when I want to turn around to reach back here, this thing goes with me and it's just a nice glide. I'm worried that those more expensive, thicker ones have more cushion, they'll squish down, and that they'll make it harder for me to turn and grab stuff. When I do get out on the water, I unlock this. I don't know if I'll be able to do this with one hand because it grips so good. Pull up the drive. This is really hard with one hand. Hang on. There we go. So let me put it back the way it was. So this wood thing is that pointing in the right direction? All right, so this piece of wood is, whoops. This piece of wood is catching underneath here so it doesn't fly up. So basically when I get on the water, I unlock it, lift this up, pull out the piece of wood, drop that, and then I take the piece of wood and I usually just slide it under here and it chills out under there. You know, I haven't opened this yet. Let me see what's in here at the end of the year. I keep a pair of thin fishing gloves. These are NRS. They're not actually meant for fishing. They're meant just for kayaking in cold weather. I keep polarized sunglasses, prescription sunglasses. Keep a copy of my fishing license. I've been keeping my scale in there. This is a Cast King rechargeable scale with a fish lip grip built in. It's my other glove. Keep a pair of scissors in here, which look like they're end of life now, getting rusty crusty. Emergency whistle, and I see some battery cap for my old broken scale. There's a little bit of sunscreen spillage in there I need to clean up still before I put this away for the year. Let me put that back. And sometimes I fit a snack in there. All right, another big change for this year is my net. I went way too long using a dinky net. There we go. It's not gonna let me net him, he's too big. Big for my net. Yeah. Jesus. Stop. Okay. What I was afraid of getting a net like this is that I wouldn't have anywhere on this kayak to put it. Felt like it would be in the way. But it turns out that this particular net, Promar, R-O-M-A-R, Promar, I don't know the exact model. I'll put a link in the description if I can find it. This particular net fits good here, and what I do is I just pull the net and sit it on top, and it doesn't usually flop back down while I'm pedaling. Stays up, stays out of the water, doesn't slow me down. And what's really nice about a net this big compared to the smaller ones is that when you catch a fish, look how deep this is. When you catch a fish, you can put the net here, have your legs over it, kind of holding the net here, and that net is dangling low enough that in almost any case, the fish is in the water, able to breathe. If you need to take a break, trying to get a hook out, or want to take a weight of the fish, you have time to let it rest while you whip out the scale and get your measuring board and whatnot. Let's see. In the front lid, I don't really keep much in here. You can see here, that is a inverter that takes my Ryobi 40 volt batteries, 36 volt batteries, and turns them into 12 volt. This is a way overkill size one. I kind of thought I was going to do more. At the beginning of this year, I tried using 12 volt converters in the front and the back so that I could plug my GoPros in, but those ended up being very unreliable, and I've gone back to using batteries. So really, I just slide on my 12 volt, my 36 volt, 40 volt Ryobi battery, set it in there, and that gets me probably 14 hours of fishing off a 4 amp hour battery, one of these. Which is nice because it lets me exercise those batteries since I have 3 of them. My chainsaw came with one, leaf blower, and my weed trimmer each came with one. Other than that, it stays dry under here. I will say, keep in mind when you're storing this boat that you pretty much have to have the vent cracked a little bit open. Otherwise, it gets really stinky in there from the humidity buildup, and it'll get wet inside and moldy and gross. Or I don't think the boat will get moldy, but your stuff will get moldy. I've had some clothes in there that just stank after a week. So I always keep it capped like that, and then keep the cap like that, and then I have a giant Harbor Freight fabric canvas tarp that I throw over the entire boat. And doing that has let me keep these caps that I got off because these caps haven't worked anyway. These are from PDL Kayak. I don't think they've been worth it. They seem to always leak and then these fill up with water. However, this is from PDL Kayak. This is a rubberized lock. This has saved me from so many hits so far, and it's still holding up good. When it finally does break, I'll be sure to buy another one. Let's see. The seat, I had some issues with the white showing last year. It doesn't look like it's gotten any worse. I will say, cleaning it up just now, I noticed, playing with the seat at the time, I noticed that this screw here, totally loose. So I just screwed that back down. Looks like I could take it even farther. The other screws were not loose, just that one was like less than hand tight, like it was just dangling there. And I noticed while tightening all of these that this screw here, which I've never touched before, was already stripped from the factory. So I have installed a railing here for another fish rod holder. I love this front facing one. It keeps the rod at a perfect spot while you're taking your fish off. I don't really use the two back ones because I use my fishing crate instead, which is just a Home Depot milk crate. Keep my board back here for measuring, which is pretty new to me. I keep two tubs in here, one of plastics and one of like just the different hardware. And then I have a lure case, which once this goes up there for fishing, I'll stick this underneath. And that stays there for easy access while I fish. I have switched to using hand crimped steel leaders. I was kind of expecting to see the tool in there right on top. Oh. So I've got leader sleeves in here. That's new, along with steel leader. I've got a couple different strengths of it. This one's 10 pound, and then a tool for crimping. So that's letting me direct crimp on. I live in an area where there's a lot of pickerel and pike where I fish, so I gotta use steel leaders, and that's saved me a lot. Let's see. Steering, I haven't had any issues with steering. I do find that this boat, it seems like as much as I tighten it, you can tighten it here, it does seem to want to just loosen on its own pretty quick. In here, I don't keep much because it's not exactly easy to get to. There's a small tray, like a little Tupperware from Olive Garden. I think it came with breadsticks. And that just keeps this bag from going way back or too far on either side. In that back, I have first aid stuff, spare dry socks, and spare propeller parts, spare propeller and spare screw, I believe. I should double check that though. Cup holder here, it's pretty much where I put spare lures or as I switch lures out and I want to let them dry for a bit before I put them away, or busted up plastics as I remove them and replace them. In the back here, I have scupper plugs, like 4 of them in the back. They keep it totally dry. I've got 2 of them in the front, just for the very front. I find that it's unnecessary to have them here. I never have water come in there, but I do have water come in through the front. So those help a lot. Oh, let's see. As far as filming goes, that's changed a little. I used to use the GoPro Volta handle, and now I've switched to just their carbon fiber rod. With the GoPro Hero 13, I usually keep it right about here. They now have quick release, which is awesome. I can just snap on the camera, and I run a wire to just a portable battery inside there. And same in the back on my fishing crate, which I usually keep pushed back as far as I can. I've got a quick release on a selfie stick that's tied on good. That gets a good rear view angle. On me, I wear the Chesty. My life jacket is just a standard one. I haven't found a fishing one that I think will be comfortable enough for me yet. Still rocking the Motorola SOS thing here. Comes with Well, it lets me do satellite texting, and it does have satellite SOS, and I think it's like $25 or $30 a year. I pay for the insurance in case I need to be heli-vaced out or something bad happens and I need search and rescue, things like that. The pedal drive, I haven't had any issues with power or tangling or braking parts on the pedal drive. The only issue I've had is squeaking from the pedals. That got pretty loud earlier this year, pretty annoying. And what I figured out is, from watching videos and stuff, is you could take the pedals off and all you have to do is clean up like I guess some plastic debris or some kind of streaking on the metal posts that the pedals are attached to. Doing that, cleaned them right up. I don't know if I can reproduce it. There it is. I did it once. I need to do it again. Halfway through the year I did it and it cleaned it up perfectly. I wasn't real thorough about doing it, so when I do it again this winter here for next year, I'll be much more thorough and see if I can get it even cleaner. Other than that, this year, right at the end of the year, I got these things. See here, they're just wrapped around the rod. They keep the lure and the line from tangling, from twisting, and it's just Velcro. Easy to take on and off. It gets some ventilation so it gets to dry. I will say though, on this particular rod, I had it higher than I should. I noticed that on the boat, it's harder to take it off when it's that high up. It's much easier to remove it when you put it down lower on there. So I would normally have, let's see, towards the end of the year, I started switching away from these collapsible rods, which are nice and handy, but I have a bigger car now. I'm not so constrained, so I've gotten a couple Bass X. They're base level rods here. And right at the end of the year here, I got 2 of the Clearance Dick Sporting Good Shimano 2500 HG in their, well, I was using Sienna series, but these are Vanford. So I'm giving those a try next year. So far, I don't notice a huge difference in upgrading from Sienna to the Vanford on these. I did notice a huge upgrade going to the Bass X rods, even though these are their like base cheap ones. It's just a ton lighter than these collapsible ones are. I think I hit everything. It's kind of a lot, but the big upgrades this year are my being able to transport it quicker with the board in here, having a proper net that lets the fish breathe, and I've gone lighter with the GoPros, and just everything about them is quicker where I can snap them on now. But other than that, the only thing left, oh, and I've added some ropes. That's about it then. I'm still using the Wilderness Systems kayak carrier, which I just basically tuck in here on my trailer, and I've got a small strap that just connects from down here up and over, and here is where it catches and keeps it tight. I use 2 cheap ratchet straps with hooks on them, one over center front here, and then the other, you can see here, it's connected in the back. It would go over the trunk area, and then all I have to do is take out this basket. I have thought about getting the fancy, bigger fishing basket crates, but what I'm afraid of on those is that this is light, this is easy to carry, and I have to take it off. If I was getting one of those big ones, I'd almost want it to be permanently mounted, and then it's going to make this boat a pain in the butt when I'm on the kayak carrier. Having all the weight off makes it so much easier on steep hills and bumpy terrain. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is a single wide Triton snowmobile trailer. This was what I've been using for this year. Works great. I just use PVC pipes with fun noodles. These fun noodles have had 2 years of being squished, so they are due to be replaced. There's 4 of them along there, and I haven't had any issues there. Slides on and off good. I don't know, let me know in the comments if you have any questions on my setup. The next thing for next year that I'm gonna install on this thing is the pack motor. And the reason I picked the pack motor is because 2 motors with a remote control lets you kind of hang the remote control on your neck while you stand. And I'll be able to steer and go forward and backwards. It has cruise control. I'll be able to move the boat around while standing, because right now the biggest pain when you're trying to stand fish is that I can only usually get 1 or 2 casts in before I have to sit down and pedal or steer or turn the boat. Wind and stuff will be pushing you. So that's it. Let me know, Chen, in the comments if you have any thoughts, suggestions, comments, questions, and maybe I'll do another follow-up next year. Thank you for watching.